Kokushibo is stunned. Who would have ever thought? This person, standing right before him, actually possesses a rare blood. I'm the man who possesses the bloodline sacrifice. You six-eyed, ugly freak. What makes you think you can fight me? Sanemi presses the attack. Using wind breathing, 6th form, black wind, Kokushibo is stunned. I felt incredibly grogged. It's like drinking bootleg liquor. Where did this kid even come from? Wounded this badly, and he's still moving? Aren't his guts going to spill out? If it were anyone else, that move just now, the outcome was decided long ago. Kokushibo staggers, kept backing away. Sanemi is relentless and unforgiving. A relentless barrage of slash. They immediately drove Kokushibo back into the corner. Just as Shinazugawa was about to deliver the fatal blow to Kokushibo, Kokushibo seized the opportunity. He stomped the wind Hashira's Nichiren blade underfoot. The situation reversed too quickly. Kokushibo, as an elite swordsman, he absolutely won't waste this perfect opportunity. He immediately swung his blade, slashing toward the wind Hashira's neck. The wind Hashira is dying. He remembered the master's smile. The wind Hashira, a massive troublemaker from back in the day. Everyone else shows the master complete and total reverence. The master stated, wearing a gentle smile. Shinazugawa, just say whatever it is you want to say. Upon receiving the master's permission, Sanemi just kept talking incessantly. You're ridiculously over-the-top acting. Cut the act in front of me. In your eyes, the Demon Slayer Corps are nothing more than pawns. I suspect you haven't trained with any weapons. A guy like you is actually the leader of the Demon Slayer Corps? That is truly sickening. Facing Shinazugawa's challenge, our master sincerely apologizes to everyone. He said he also tried swinging a sword himself. But the pulse quickly fell into chaos. Couldn't even manage to swing the sword 10 times. If I could, I want to be like you too. To become a powerful swordsman who protects the lives of others. This is Shinazugawa's first time attending a celebration meeting, isn't it? I think you might have some misunderstanding. Everyone just meant well to treat me like this now. If you don't want to, you can also choose to be different from them. The look in the master's eyes reminded him of his late mother. That gentle gaze, just like that satisfied love a mother has for her child. Kanao would say, after the master became the head of the family, to just remember the names of every member who fell in battle. Shinazugawa was somewhat surprised. How could this be? Even I can't remember the names of every single member who has fallen in battle. However, such a respected leader. In order to fight Muzan, yet he didn't hesitate to sacrifice both himself, his wife, and his daughter. In reality, Kokushibo's sharp blade slashed right into the pistol. Shinazugawa reversed his grip on his weapon, successfully blocking the attack. Under Kokushibo's gaze, Shinazugawa pulled the trigger. Kokushibo quickly pulled back his blade to block. Simultaneously, he unleashes third form. Loathsome moon vanishes. Once the smoke and dust clear, the area was completely empty. It turns out that right in the middle of this crisis, the stone Hashira steps in to save them. He pulled the wind Hashira behind him. Kokushibo activates the transparent world, found that the man's physique had been honed to its absolute limit. He lamented 300 years have passed. This is the first time I've encountered a swordsman this powerful. Kokushibo was somewhat speechless. I was just about to say something. These young people today have no sense of honor. The fight hasn't even started yet. You just went and launched a sneak attack. Young man, I'm warning you, you better watch yourself. Himejima didn't give Kokushibo the opportunity to unleash a sword technique. The meteor hammer relentlessly pursued him. As Kokushibo dodged the hammer, accidentally chained up, Kokushibo attempts to cut through the chains with his sword. But they realized they simply couldn't cut it. He quickly ducked, evading the attack. The iron chains only managed to leave behind a single strand of his hair. Kokushibo analysis. Whales and the towering, as long as I can get close. That should let us catch him completely off guard. Then, he instantly appeared right before the opponent. A single strike slashes towards Guillaume's neck. However, something unexpected happened. Himejima is missing. Before anyone realized it, Himejima had already closed the distance to Kokushibo. After finding a way to make a living, the axe he swung even managed to cut him. Kokushibo said admiringly, "This man is something else. Such a massive figure, such incredible agility. It's truly unbelievable." Kokushibo discovered his blade was completely entangled in chains. The next second, his blade was snapped. Just then, Himejima came charging in. The two were instantly slammed with a huge blow. Kokushibo's broken blade has already regenerated, but Himejima's face was slashed. Kokushibo declared aggressively, "I'm here. None of you are getting through." Himejima considers it for a moment. He decided to activate the mark. As the senior member of the Demon Slayer Corps, he needs to pave the way forward for the next generation. This was absolutely the most tragic moment of Muichiro's life. He gritted his teeth. Then, he vigorously pushes off the wall with both feet, until it finally gave way. Muichiro slammed heavily onto the ground. However, the pain wasn't over yet. We see him gripping the hilt, slowly drawing the blade out. Despite trembling all over from the pain, but even so, he bravely drew his sword. Muichiro didn't worry about his injuries. His greatest fear was that it hadn't been put to use yet. It died from blood loss. To be born human, I can die without regrets. Muichiro, decides, even if it means death. I still have to use up whatever remaining strength I have left before I die. At the very least, we have to take down upper rank 1. Muichiro picked up the blade from the ground, rushing urgently to the battlefield. Just then, Genya called out to him. Genya hoped Muichiro could help him piece his body back together. Also, help me cut some of Kokushibo's hair, to protect my big brother. I want to fight until the very end. Hearing this, Muichiro couldn't refuse. Let's fight this out together until the end. Himejima is now confronting Kokushibo. You actually activated the mark. That's truly a shame. In terms of appearance, you're probably around 27 years old. Himejima merely showed his indifference. So what? Kokushibo tells Himejima. The swordsmen who awaken the mark, without exception, they never live past the age of 25. And since you've turned 25, I'm afraid you'll likely perish once this night is over. Don't you feel like just dying like this? Is it something to be regretted? We demon slayers are in danger every single moment. We've come too far to suddenly start fearing death now. If you don't even have this level of resolve, you can't become one of the Hashira. What you just said is simply an insult to Kuzumi. Kokushibo continues his brainwashing. Once you become a demon, it will grant the physical body eternal life. And so, your masterful technique can then be preserved forever. It's such a simple concept. Why won't you understand? That's enough! You're talking too much. Don't arbitrarily force your pointless views onto others. The furious whale and the swinging meteor hammer, they stood against Kokushibo once more. The Wind Hashira administered basic first aid to staunch the bleeding. He stood up again. He then awakened the Demon Slayer mark. Under Kokushibo's surprised gaze, the Wind Hashira has also joined the battle. Kokushibo is stunned. The way people lived in this era, could they all be marked swordsmen? It's incredible how different breathing styles can coordinate so perfectly. The Wind Hashira roars with laughter. Thank goodness we went through the Hashira training. The boy eats the hair, just to save his older brother. The very moment he consumed it, an unimaginable force continuously swept over Xuanming's entire body. And then, his body rapidly began regenerating at a speed visible to the naked eye. Even the circulation of the blood inside their body accelerated. Right after this, Genya heard a strange, inexplicable sound. Kokushibo, how many Hashira have you killed? I can't let them come here yet. He is currently engaged in battle with 2 marked swordsmen. Based on his observation, the strength of these 2 must be the Demon Slayer Corps' greatest pillar of support, especially Himejima. Although he is blind, but he possesses a perfect physique. Yet, the weapon he uses can accurately pinpoint the enemy's location. Although it's hard to believe, but the facts are right in front of us. In that case, then, I'll start by destroying that delinquent boy's weapon. We just need to attack the side of the blade. It's very easy to destroy the weapon. The wind Hashira immediately saw through Kokushibo's clever scheme. Kokushibo was left speechless. The marks appearing, that was one thing. How did his speed increase too? Is this still someone who's critically wounded and dying? Just as Kokushibo was lost in his thoughts, Himejima saw his opening. He used an instantaneous movement technique to appear right in front of Kokushibo. With a single swing of the axe, the wind Hashira sliced off Kokushibo's left ear. Pressed the advantage. He used the Chen whirlwind. A cyan whirlwind tore through the area, splitting the two combatants apart. Kokushibo was left completely stunned. The wind and stone Hashira completely deny him any chance to strike. The two of them unleashed a flurry of techniques. All at once, Kokushibo was battered and in a desperate state. Just as the two of them were about to land the fatal blow on Kokushibo, the wind and stone Hashira were already severely wounded. Kokushibo's attacking speed is just too fast. At 10 meters, he simply couldn't react in time. Two of his fingers were severed. The critical moment. Fortunately, the stone Hashira used his chain to change the attack's trajectory. Or else, let alone a finger, both of those 10-meter arms must be severed. The transformation of Kokushibo's Nichiren blade after its ultimate release is massive. First, the blade suddenly surged to more than double its original size. New sharp blades sprouted from the segments of the blade, its edge and its spine. Strength leading to utter despair. His blood absorption is now virtually ineffective, confronted with this utterly horrifying attack. He wasn't sure if he would survive. As Gyomei Himejima faced Kokushibo's fierce offensive, an unexpected awakening to the see-through world. In this moment, every single move Kokushibo makes is sensed by Gyomei in advance. Muichiro, dragging his injured body, also joins the fight, even if only one hand remains. I must also make myself as useful as possible, but this also gave Kokushibo the perfect opportunity to slay all three of them instantly. Breath of the Moon. 14th form, calamitous transformation. In an instant, countless sword slashes, along with fine, moon-shaped blades, came hurtling toward them all. Muichiro risks his life. I need to find a way to charge Kokushibo. They moved to restrict his actions. Ming alters the direction of the blood flow, to keep Kokushibo completely unaware of his presence. He turned and positioned himself behind Kokushibo. Swinging the massive hammer in his hand, he delivered a crushing blow. Muichiro then took the opportunity to stab his sword into its body. Kokushibo simply couldn't understand it, no matter what. Who should have been instantly killed by that last attack? How did Muichiro come to be by his side? Could it be that he can also see the world that I see? Meanwhile, Xuan Ming, in order to restore his body, he consumed Kokushibo's fallen hair. The two halves of the body instantly rejoined. Even Muzan's voice started to surface. Kokushibo, how many Hashira have you killed? We absolutely can't let them reach me. Merely a lock of hair. To already possess such immense power, Genya proceeded to swallow the remaining half of the broken blade. While Kokushibo was still fighting the group, Genya, holding the shotgun enhanced by a blood demon art, fired a shot at Kokushibo. Even though Kokushibo managed to deflect it in time with a sword strike, but the bullets seemed to have a life of their own. It still burrowed into Kokushibo's body. The next bullet, the seed is sprouting inside his body. It instantly grew into a massive tree. The roots penetrate deep into the ground, bind Kokushibo tightly, immobilize them. For a full 400 years, this was the first time he'd ever truly felt his life was threatened. Furious, Kokushibo unleashes a full power strike. The sword strike unleashed this time is even more intense than any previous ones. Muichiro was severed at the waist. Genya was split in half. Gyomei and Shinazugawa had also sustained injuries of varying degrees. But with only half of his body left, Muichiro was still firmly gripping the sword in his hand. He absolutely won't allow Gyomei and Shinazugawa to fall here. Just then, Muichiro's tightly gripped Nichiren sword turned red. Kokushibo's body suddenly went completely rigid. My internal organs were struck by an agonizing pain, as if consumed by a raging fire. With only one breath remaining, Genya activates his blood demon art again. The residual seed within Kokushibo's body sprouted once again. This time, it didn't just restrict his movements. Now, I can't even use my breathing technique. Qinming seized the opportunity to violently slam the heavy hammer down onto Kokushibo's head. But Kokushibo's head was incredibly tough. Even after striking him repeatedly several times, they still couldn't sever his head. Sanemi jumps up to aid Gyome. After the blade and the great hammer collided, the color is gradually turning red, and only then were they finally able to sever Kokushibo's head. Kokushibo did not immediately die after being decapitated. He merely had to think about losing his internal organs. It felt like the world was turning upside down. He once swore, "I will never lose to anyone again. Even if their head is cut off, we won't lose again." The second time, Qinming and Shinazagawa realized something was wrong. Continue the fierce assault on Kokushibo's body. But it was all in vain. Kokushibo pulls out the blade embedded in his body. Driven by his tenacious will to survive, another head has grown. Now, Kokushibo has already overcome the weakness of dying by decapitation. Other than sunlight, no attack can kill him. But just as Shinazagawa swung his blade to attack, Kokushibo unexpectedly, in the reflection of the blade, saw his own hideous appearance. Yuanyi once asked him, "Brother, is your dream to become the strongest samurai in the entire nation? I really wish I could become as amazing as my older brother." Thinking of this phrase, Kokushibo's inner world began to shake. Is this truly the figure of a samurai? Could it be that turning into this grotesque form was my true desire all along? The next moment, Kokushibo's body then began to disintegrate. Neither blood demon arts nor breathing styles can be used. Qinming seized the opportunity, delivering yet another hammer blow that smashed Kokushibo's head clean off. Kokushibo struggles, still attempting to regenerate his body. But at this moment, the nascent soul's figure emerged once more. How pitiful. The older brother is beheaded. Pierced. How utterly humiliating is this pathetic refusal of the body to admit defeat. But everything Kokushibo did, it was all simply to surpass his younger brother, Yoriichi. He'd even forgotten the faces of his parents, his wife, and his children. But the one thing I could clearly remember in my mind was Yoriichi's face. Yuanyi is unique, just like the sun, the people who surround us. Even if subjected to the sun's scorching heat, yet, still struggling, he reached out his hands toward him. Kokushibo abandoned his noble family, his wife, and his children, and even cast aside his humanity, slaying his own descendant with his own hands. He even cast aside his identity as a samurai. I still couldn't catch up to Yoriichi's pace. Yuanyi once said, "Those who pursue perfection will ultimately reach the same final destination." Yet, I myself could never attain it. Before Kokushibo was reduced to ash, they still couldn't figure it out. But why is sun breathing still able to continue to this day? But I myself left nothing behind. Even though Kokushibo has already died, but the Demon Slayer Corps also paid an extremely heavy price. Genya was split clean in half. Muichiro severed at the waist.